I'm a nurse anesthetist, and I'm giving myself 2 years to rebuild a life into something I genuinely love, something that I don't need to escape from. But something's been bothering me. How do you rebuild your life without treating everything that you've already built like a mistake? Every conversation I hear about rebuilding or changing your life seems to involve something catastrophic. Leave your job today. Leave your relationship. Move cities. Move to Bali immediately. But I'd like to take a little more care with this. What if rebuilding is less about starting over and more about learning what to keep? And that's what I want to talk about today. This is week 15, and I'm calling this video The Inspection. I want you to imagine that your entire life is represented by a house. It can be any kind of house you like, but it needs a little work. And before you lay a finger on the house, you're going to have to do a walkthrough. Go and inspect to see what needs to stay and what needs to go, what needs a little repainting, and what needs complete rebuilding. There are 3 categories: cosmetic, structural, foundational. So, notebook in hand, let the inspection begin. I think this all starts at looking at what you've already built. There will be some things you love and some things that you don't. What are the parts of my life that are already actually really beautiful? And what are the parts that no longer reflect who I am? So we're going to go ahead and walk through room by room of your life. I can't believe I ever really liked that wallpaper. Oh my gosh, those curtains. That hardware has never gone with the cabinets. With cosmetic, I'd say it's easier to change. Think your habits, your clothes, your routines, social media use, even your home decor. These are things that are easy wins in the scheme of rebuilding your life, but you keep walking through. I really wish this bathroom was twice as big. Or that wall needs to go. This room needs to be opened up completely. Now we're talking more structural. These are things that are fixable, but they're going to take some work. Think your career, your schedule, where you live. And I'd put relationships here in the middle, but relationships can span from cosmetic to foundational. We all know that. You keep walking through the house and you get to a room where there is a giant crack up the wall. Then you get to the back of the property and you're in the backyard and you take a look and you can see that the back left of the house is sagging. These are anything but cosmetic. Foundational issues are costly to repair, but nothing else can be built until it's fixed. Think your beliefs, your identity, your behavior, your insecurities. Think the source of your spring. That's from a video called How Do You Know What You Actually Want? If we just repaint the walls and ignore the foundation, you're just wasting your time and the problem will reappear. So to take this from analogy down into reality, I'll give you an example of how this played out in my life. So what room stayed? For me, my finances, my relationship, a couple qualities about myself like my discipline, my drive, my work ethic, and also in my home, it's always been the thing that's kept me the most centered is the calmness and relaxation that I get from my house. So those stayed. What went? For cosmetic, it was the decluttering of my home and editing of my wardrobe. Both of those things affect how I feel mentally. For structural, it was my career and my work schedule. And for foundational, it was my definition of success and my need for external approval. Developing this kind of discernment in your life, getting to know yourself well enough to know what should stay and what shouldn't, these all help you to avoid rebuilding the same life again. If you don't change, you will accidentally rebuild the same thing again. Just a different location, different scenery, same pattern. Some of this was built before you knew yourself as well as you do now. It was made from the knowledge and the resources and even the identity that you had then. And that's okay. But by getting to know yourself better now, you can more easily answer the question, does this still belong? This is now discernment. What if the reason rebuilding has felt so impossible is because you're trying to redo all of the rooms simultaneously. And I found that out in my life, wanting to make these changes of rebuilding to something that I genuinely love. That's a process. And giving myself grace and knowing that things are not necessarily going to always happen on my timeline. That is something that I've had to come to terms with. I am so used to this immediate gratification. I think a lot of us are. But maybe that's something that's worth taking our time with, going room by room and giving each area the time and respect that it deserves. Another question is, what if the visible problem is just a reflection or evidence of something much deeper and foundational underneath? Are there things in your attic that are hidden or long forgotten that you're just going to deal with later? Let's bring those boxes down and start looking through them. So I'm going to end this video like this. What if your next chapter doesn't require a completely different life? What if it just involves better discernment of what's already there? Walking through every room and asking, does this still belong to me? Before I go, I wanted to thank you for being here and thank you for all of the thoughtful comments that you've left. I've really enjoyed seeing this little community start to build. And I just thank you for thinking with me. All right, until next time.